Episode 11. I'm going to push really hard to get this thing done, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I feel like there's a lot of polishing and sanding and things to do that could slow me down. I'm waiting on a couple of parts, but let's push for making this thing done. We're going to play it for sure, because I mean, how can we not? There's not that much to do to play it. Let's get after it. I think the first thing we're going to do is something that I said was already done last week. Here we go. Well, you guys remember in the last episode I said fretwork was done, like done, no more fretwork. I got ahead of myself. I put the horse in the cart where the chickens hatch or something. Here we go. We're going to level them. Just as an update, I made another one. This one's way better than the first one. It may go on this build. I've also ordered a couple of different ones just to see what I like, but I would really like to have one that I made that is going to end up with the same finish that the body's going to end up with. Because all the ones that you order are, you know, they're crazy, shiny, shouty, you know, hey, look at me, I'm a tailpiece. They're too much. And so I'm hoping this one will be a little more subtle. Okay, what am I doing now? Oh, we're going to get ready to fret level. Hey, the frets are done. I shouldn't even say that, because what if they're not? I'm probably forgetting something. Anyway, I don't know what we're going to do next. I think, we're going to rough in a nut. So let's get a nut roughed in on this thing. Then I'm going to make a biscuit bridge. Here we go. Okay, let's call that roughed in for the nut. It's an ebony nut, if you didn't figure that out already. It's a little bit taller than it needs to be right now, so it's good. The nut, I think we're done with that for now. We'll have to revisit it later, but for now, that's roughed in. Let's call that good. Okay, I did make a biscuit bridge, but I didn't film any of it, so sorry about that. I just took a piece of the hard rock or rock hard maple, whatever they call it, shaved it down to the height I wanted it to be, and then I took the router and I just made a slot in there that was matched the size of this thing and put the bone in there, and that's it. So really nothing to it. Oh, and I just cut it around on the bandsaw and then sanded it on the spindle sander till it was round. I put a little screw hole in the bottom so it screws in there, and there you have it. Biscuit bridge done. All right, I got the body sanded to 400 on the front, back, sides, everywhere. So I'm going to try and hit it on the buffer with some light buffing compound and see what happens. There's still scratches in it, and I feel like I need to go back to maybe 320 and then 400 again, and then maybe even 600. I don't know. I just want to try and buff it. I'll try and show you what it looks like afterwards, and we'll look and see what we think on the scratches wise. Even if I do get it all perfect and I get the scratches out of it, I mean, I don't know. I don't expect it to stay that way without any kind of finish on it. I don't have a clear plan on where I'm headed with polishing this body. I just want to see it all shiny and then maybe come up with something after that. Anyway, we're going to polish it and see where we get and see what the scratches look like and then go from there. Here we go. from back here, it's just flipping incredible. I mean, the whole thing it looks really shiny. It's looking really good. It looks great from a little ways away. You start to get closer and you start to realize, well, there's a lot of scratches in this thing still. I mean, I could go back through and just keep sanding and sanding and sanding and try and get these scratches out. I don't know if you can see, there's big one. Yeah, you can see it. There's big ones there. It's rough right there. I mean, you can see how good it's reflecting. Look at, look at the reflection in it. So it's definitely shiny and it looks good. I put some rubbing compound on one of my buffer wheels and I polished just this quarter of the guitar with the rubbing compound, and to my eye it made zero difference. Maybe it did make a little bit. I guess I'm starting to see it's not as hazy over here as it is here. There's a little more hazy over here than here, but still this thing's just got a lot of scratches in it still. So, and this is after sanding to 400 and then hitting it on the buffer. The buffer really didn't do anything to take out any scratches, even with the medium compound. It just cleaned up the 400 grit sanding job. I guess I need to go back to maybe 320 and see if I can get some more of these scratches out and then go 400 and then go 600 maybe. Or maybe I leave it like that. Maybe it's just how it is. I really don't know yet. I mean, I could clean up a little bit of the spots where it's, oh yeah, you can see right in that light. That's a spot where it needs some cleanup. Anyway, aside from all of that, look at this thing. I love it. For my first third resonator, this thing's looking amazing. I say first third because if you guys remember, we've got that aluminum one up there. Oh, that's a complete train wreck. And then we had the one that I started that you guys were with me. It's behind the template there. You can't see it. We got that one, and now we're at this one. So, I mean, you're throwing away 2 bodies to get to this point. I'm good with that. I'd say that's a nice learning curve. It could be done just like this, and if I could keep it from rusting, this is a good result for this first one. The next one's got to be better, but this one's really good. That's where we're at on polishing the body. That was a lot of rambling to talk about polishing the body, but you can see, I mean, polishing the body, it looks good, but it's not as good as I was hoping it was going to be. Okay, I need to do a bunch of sanding on the neck. I'm going to sand it, I think it's sanded to 120 right now. I need to sand it to 220, then 320, then we can start painting it. This walnut and the maple doesn't really need any grain filler. I can get the lacquer laid down smooth enough that I don't even have to mess with wet sanding and all that. I can just go straight to the buffer with a mild polish and have no orange peel and no real issues. So let's hope that that's the way this one goes. It's a little bit colder than I'd like it to be, but it's not humid, so I think we're going to be okay. It'll just take a little longer to cure. Here we go. Let's sand this neck up to 320 and then we can get some color and paint and everything else on that. Okay, mixing up some color for the neck, and so I'm using the Mohawk instrument lacquer. This stuff's fine. It's good. It shrinks and cracks and yellows and everything like the old school lacquer does. I mean, I've used it a lot. I've used the Balins a lot. All these lacquers are good. But over the years, I've switched to this stuff, the Duplicolor. This is an acrylic lacquer, not a nitrocellulose lacquer. And the thing I like about the acrylic lacquer is it doesn't shrink, it doesn't crack, it doesn't yellow. It just stays clear forever. So if you're going for an instrument that you want a vintage feel on eventually, and you want it to yellow and you want it to crack and you want it to get all that cool old school vibe going, you don't want this stuff. I mean, I have some guitars that are 20 years old with this stuff on there that never sit in a case. They're out all the time. They haven't yellowed a bit. They haven't got that checkered, that checked, cracked, you know, it's just been totally stable. I also have guitars that are 20 years old, but this kind of stuff on there, it's yellowed considerably, it's got some cracking, it has that old school vintage vibe. So it's your choice on those. On this one, I don't mind old school vintage vibe on this, so I'm going with the Mohawk stuff. I don't spray one thicker than the other. They both spray fantastic. I don't notice a big working difference between the nitro lacquer and the acrylic lacquer. The only thing is maybe the acrylic lacquer takes a little bit longer to cure than the nitro lacquer does. The nitro lacquer probably cures and gases off quicker than the acrylic. In the end, I mostly use this stuff unless somebody really asks me to use the stuff that yellows and ages, because they want to go for that vintage feel over time. Otherwise, I'm going to pretty much always shoot with this. I don't shoot with poly or any kind of other finish but lacquer, because I find lacquer to be by far the most forgiving medium to work with. You can coat over it and coat over it. You can take lacquer thinner and wipe it all off and start again if you want. There's no coat window. It doesn't leave witness lines when you sand it. I mean, every coat melts into the previous coat, no matter how long ago the previous coat was. I don't know. I just find it to be an incredibly forgiving and easy finish to work with, so that's what I use. And this stuff's available at pretty much every auto body store you ever go to. They almost all carry the quarts of the Duplicolor. Okay, I've said enough about that. So I want to go just a tiny bit of red on this neck, and so you can see I use this to stir in the red into my little thing here. So this looks way more red on camera and in this little jar than it ever will on the neck. That's literally one drop of this bright red trans tint in this little can. I'm happy with the way that the red on there looks on the walnut, so we're going straight to the neck with this. Okay, here's where we're at on the neck so far. I really like the color. I think it's looking good. The walnut and the maple and the stripes and all of that little bit of red really set that off nicely. Yeah, I think that's gonna be fantastic. So, okay, let's get the decal on here and then the last coat of clear. I like to lock in the decal with the coat of clear. Okay, these are the Electroform stickers. They're printed somehow like this, and they're sort of a metal. I think I want to go with gold, and yeah, let's get that thing done. Okay, let's assemble this thing already and play it. It's been 11 episodes, it's time. Let's get this done. Quit goofing around. I guess I need to bring it in first from outside, and then let's put this baby together. Here we go. been a ton of fun. I really appreciate all the support and comments I've been getting, even the guy who said I shouldn't be doing this project. Thank you. In the next episode, I think we got a lot of talking to do, because throughout this series, however many, what are we on, 11? Throughout these 11 episodes, I feel like there's just a lot of information that just didn't make it out there that is important if you're going to try and do this yourself as well. I learned a lot of things, and some of the lessons I learned just didn't make it in the series. And if you're going to build one of these, I just feel like you need to know some things that I didn't share yet. So I really want to try and get all that out there. It's going to be really useful to, two of you. Is this thing done? No, it's not done. Is it really good? Yeah, it's awesome. I'm going to play it the rest of my life for sure. I love this thing. It's the first one I made. It's great. It's fantastic. Love it. But it's not done. We gotta finish it up. We'll do that on the next episode too. A few little minor things. I still don't have the dots in here. Just little stuff that we got. Oh, I haven't painted the biscuit bridge yet. It looks really out of place being maple like that. Just little things. And who knows, maybe, if I find some slide guitar player here in the States that would play this thing for me and give me some feedback, I'm all in on shipping it to him. So we'll see if we can come across anybody. I got somebody in mind, but I don't know the guy from anything. I don't think he even watches the channel or nothing. I just really love his playing. I ordered this cover plate from Stu Mac, and for whatever reason, I think there was a weather event or something. FedEx was taking forever to get it to me, and so while I waited, I blew this whole thing apart. I had it all done, and I had been playing it a bunch without the cover. I blew it all apart, and I went back to 320 on the body, and I sanded the whole body back to 320. And then I started again on the wet sanding. So I went 400, 600, 800, 1,000. I went all the way to 1,000 grit wet sanding. And it made a huge difference. You guys could see it on the video. It's still not scratch free and perfect. It's still got some issues in there. One of the things I want to talk about in our talking video that's next is, what was I doing sanding this thing so much with such heavy grits? Like, what are you doing, guy? Stop it. So there was no reason to sand. I don't know. Anyway, I think we're good. The next video, we're going to talk about the little things that I'm not happy with on this thing. There's a couple little things. None of them are major. They're mostly cosmetic. Playability wise, it's great, but there are some things that I wish I would have done a little bit different. So I want to share all that with you. Some things that were really difficult because of some choices I made, which I've learned now was some of the wrong choices. We're going to cover all that next time. The other thing I really want to cover is, how much did this cost me to get here? And my wife and I were looking at it last night, and yeah, it wasn't a small endeavor, but it wasn't horrible. If you are going to attempt to do this at home, I can save you a ton of that money, because some of the things that I spent money on didn't pan out anyway and didn't work out. So you can skip all of that. I'll show you where you can skip, save your money. Don't buy this, don't do that. Some of those tips will help some people. I don't know if you noticed, but I did end up using the second tail piece that I made, and this one's only sanded to 320, so it's nowhere near as shiny as the body. I don't know if the camera's picking that up right now, but that thing needs a lot of sanding and polishing done. I didn't end up using the shiny ones that I bought because they were just too shiny, too much. What else? I think that the action's probably a little low on it right now for somebody who really likes to play slide. I realized as I was starting to play this thing, I haven't played slide guitar in 15 years or so. I just haven't been in that mode. And so I put it on my finger and it was a little rough. So I got some work to do to get back to being a below average slide player. Okay, I think that's good. Thanks for watching.